Hey everybody, Proud by RTS here, excited to bring you my very first video. So as you can kind of read in the description here in the title of the video, this very first video that I'm putting out is going to be a tutorial on FL Studio 2.0, showing you the ins and outs of the entire program. And actually it's just going to be the first video that I upload to my channel. I hope that you guys have been following me on my socials and everything like that. I'll be sure to put them in the link of the description down below. Also, if you have not already, please like and subscribe this video. It'll help me produce so much more content for you guys. My hopes for this channel are going to be to share some of my work that I've been producing out myself, as well as give you guys some good knowledge and tips and everything, and teach you how to do this on your own, so that if you like what I'm doing or what others in the music community are doing, you can actually do some of that on your own. So thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed, like I said, go ahead and leave a thumbs up down below and subscribe. I'll be putting out so much more content for you guys here in the upcoming weeks. So to preface this video a little bit more, we're actually going to be diving into the functionality of the DAW FL Studio 20. I'm sure if a lot of you have been here or have made your way here looking for a tutorial like this, then you know that this is a DAW, a way that you can make electronic music on your own. So we're going to go ahead and hop into FL and actually go ahead and just get started with this video. So this is going to be more or less, showing you the ins and outs, the technical parts of how to use this program, rather than actually teaching you, specifics on how to make music with it in this video. Those will be in the future to come. So here we are in FL Studio. Once again, I'm sorry for this camera quality, guys. It's bugging me just as much as it's bugging you, I'm sure. But it's going to be upgraded here quite soon. Especially if we're hoping to hit like 100 some likes on this video. That's all I ask, guys. It's a brand new channel and everything like that, but I just want to kind of get out into the community and help in my way too. And by doing that, I'm going to be teaching all of you guys how to use this program if you don't know. So here we are, FL Studio. Every single time you open it up, it's going to look exactly like this. You're going to have this kind of column over here of a bunch of different files that might not make sense right now. We'll dive into that in a second. Another little column right here that has some more stuff, right? And this whole big thing right here, this is actually going to be your song. We're going to dive into this into specifics, but this is actually your song that you're going to be looking at right here, this big open grid. And as we add instruments and compile different sounds that we want to make the song, they'll appear here, and we'll be able to do so much with them. And as you can see, the final thing I want to draw your attention to is this whole big panel up here with all these different buttons that are probably confusing. We're going to go through each one of those and we're also going to go through all of these folders here contain and what you can do with all of that. Okay, so we're just going to start from the top of the list and go all the way down. You can see here we have this blue little thing called Plugin Database. Now this is the only drop-down menu that I go to look for my plugins. Now plugins are different things that you can get from FL's website, or you can also get third-party plugins that allow you to do so much more. Obviously, those are listed right here, effects and generators. Okay, so basically these lists are just going to show you what different kinds of plugins you have. Some of them are compressors, which allows you to change the sound waves of different instruments you're going to be putting into your song. Some of them are actually going to be synthesizers, which allow you to play different sounds via keyboard or via piano roll, which I'm going to be showing you here shortly as well. Okay, so this is basically just going to be a list of all your plugins that you happen to add throughout FL Studio. They can all be found right here. Now, while we're on this topic, I'm also going to go ahead and hop into this to preface where you can find it up top. If you press on this little plug right here, kind of the same as the plugin database, it actually pulls up a whole 3D screen here that you can look and you can find all of your plugins based on what they look like. Okay, so that's a cool little feature of that. Now we're going to go ahead and pass through all these. These are different presets that you can actually put into your song. I have not really dabbled in any of them, but they also come from other plugins and presets that come on FL when you purchase it. Also wanted to preface again, I am running a licensed version of FL Studio. You can do all of this on the free version as well. However, you're not able to save your projects to work on later. You can actually save and export your projects as MIDI files or MP3 files. However, you cannot save projects and open them back up for later. So that is definitely important for you to know before you start, working on this a lot. So we're going to go down here. If you can see all these little green folders, these are actually folders that I added. These are packs that I bought that have different sound samples. I'll go ahead and play one for you now just so you see just a loop, right? Okay, and we're going to go ahead and go down here. If you go all the way down
we're gonna find the folder where it says packs. Okay, now this is gonna be your main area where you're gonna go get your instruments that you're gonna compile for your song. Okay, so now time for us to hop back up top again. This one with the three little rectangles here. We're gonna click on that. This is gonna be our channel rack. Okay, so this is basically our headquarters for all of our sounds that we're gonna be compiling together. So let's say that I want to start, and it actually starts you off with a couple of the basic drums. However, some of those, you might not want to use, or you have a specific one in mind you'd rather go get. So let's say I want to come down out here and get the 909 hi-hat, right? I'm going to drag it out here, and it's going to go into my channel rack, right? Since it's in my channel rack, I can now assign it to a channel, which we're going to go into detail on what that does later. I can then access the piano roll for this hi-hat. I can actually play out different notes, right? For how I want the hi-hat to play. And I'm actually realizing that, there we go, that should be a lot better. I'm sorry for the inconvenience. Now we have our audio, right? So I can actually play these hats where I want them now. We're going to go into detail on what all that does in a second as well. So you can kind of scroll through here with all your packs. Drums is the one I like to use. It has a lot of the stock sounds that come with FL that are actually really good, and that's why I like FL over a lot of the other DAWs. I've used a little bit of Logic, and I've used a little bit of Ableton. I actually really like the preset drums and sounds that come with FL Studio. They're much better, a lot crisper, and a lot less work needs to be done to make them just how you want them to sound in your song, which is what I think is great about them. You can come down here to piano loops. This is another one of the folders that I've added. As you can tell why it has the little green plus sign, it's a little green folder. These are loops that I've actually pulled from the internet or I bought from a different source, and you can throw those into your workspace. And that's really nice because that means you can just sit here and sample your own sounds if you wanted to. If you wanted to have a more live instrument experience, wanted to play the guitar a little more or something like that, you could actually sample it into the mic, drag it right into this DAW, drop it onto your song, boom. I think that's pretty cool. The rest of this isn't really anything special. It's more a lot of the self-explanatory stuff. So this is speech. These are little samples of sounds that you can put into your song. And then if you go down here to templates, it also is going to show you it'll be a MIDI pack here for different instruments that are going to give you a preset sound based on the genre of music that you're trying to make it sound like. Okay, so that's essentially this entire left side summed up. There's not really much to it other than you just need to know this is where all of your files are going to be found when you're going to want to put them onto your song. Okay, so this second little column here we talked about, this is going to be your patterns, right? So this is going to be what you're actually compiling your song off of. Okay, so this is pattern 1. We're going to go ahead and rename it. You can right click on it right here, rename and color. Okay, so I'm just going to name it hats. Okay, just to show you what we can do. Okay, so I can give it a name and give it a color, which helps us see it better here once we're going to be placing it out on our song. So let's say we had come up with a hat pattern of some sort. They would appear here in these little boxes, which we can then paste wherever we want into our song evenly and make it sound great, right? So let's say we have all of our hats laid out. Well, this thing right here can obviously have way more layers. So you press the plus right here, pattern 2. Let's say we want it to be our kick line or our bass line. We're going to kick line, give it a random color, say okay. Now, we have pattern 1 with our hats. We can go back here into our channel rack. See how we had our hat right here? We now go into channel 2, where our kick line is. Let's say our kick line we want to be with our kick, right? We're going to go ahead and put our notes down here on our kick line. We'll just give it a boom, boom. Okay? So this is channel 2 with our kick line, right? See how I have kick line selected, and I go into the piano roll, and I choose to edit on the piano roll on channel 2. However, on channel 1, it remains unaffected. Channel 1, we can open up our channel rack. It's completely unaffected. But we go to our hi-hats now, piano roll, and we can see how it's allowing us to now edit our hats. And it's unaffected. Okay? Obviously, this isn't going to be a great song. I'm just trying to, show you the ropes here. So that's how you can individually edit different channels here and actually put them onto your song to start compiling your song. Okay? So we're going to go ahead and erase those. As you can see here now, you understand that this is the song. You kind of showed how that worked. There's different tracks. You can put different instruments on different tracks or different sounds on the same track if you wanted to. However, I wouldn't really recommend that. A couple of reasons. Let's say that we're demoing right here. Let's say we want our hats to be heard, but we don't want our kick line for a moment. We can actually click this little green button right here, and that actually just toggles it off from playback. So we're only going to be hearing the channel that's selected, right? The highlighted one. Now, if we unmute it, when it plays back, it's actually going to be, selected for playback. Do the top one. Same thing here. Okay, so that's a pretty cool way that you can actually use the song here to do a little bit of testing and everything like that once you're actually placing all of your sounds onto your song. So we've covered all the stuff on the left. We've covered all the functionalities of these guys right here. I've showed you kind of how to dabble around with a song here. So now it's time to go up and show you what all these little buttons up here do. Okay, so this guy right here, this is a metronome. Now, if anybody has any experience in music, you can know that those can be kind of annoying. However, very helpful. So since I have my tempo set to 130 beats per minute, I have my metronome on. You can see right here there's kind of a little clicker that keeps keeping the beat for you, right? 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4, right? So I have it clicking on, I have it selected on pattern. I have the metronome set to click, and it's going at 130 beats per minute. If I go ahead and crank that up or down, you can tell that it goes exactly to the beat. So if I'm trying to sit here, and kind of think of my hi-hat pattern, what I want it to sound like, I can sit here and mess with this metronome, and I can kind of get that rhythm in my head, right? I can count. It can help me count. 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. Pretty cool little feature. I find myself using a lot, when I try to get inspired with different drum lines and stuff like that, different rhythms that I'm not entirely used to using. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and go into these buttons now. We're going to dive in to see what these do. Okay, so our first one that we're looking at here is actually our song itself, right? So this whole screen that you saw is all part of one little button that can be toggled right here. Click, it's gone. Click again, it's back. We're going to go ahead and toggle that away just so we have an open workspace here, and I can pull up different things and you can show how to, get rid of them or put them back if you want to. Okay, so once again, like I showed you, here's your song. The next thing you're going to be pulling up is your piano roll. Now the piano roll, you already kind of saw me diving into it before with specific instruments. However, you can actually select what channel you would like from your channel rack, right? So you know how I told you put every instrument in here, all the sounds you're going to be using, you want them in your channel rack. That's like your HQ. You can kind of get away with it without using this by dropping them directly into the song as a audio file, but that just puts it in there as an audio wave, and it's a lot harder to, fine tune and kind of put specifications on it and put it where you want it. So you really want to put all your stuff in your channel rack. Now, once you're in your piano roll, you can actually choose a certain channel rack location to play on your piano roll. You can also then assign this piano roll to any pattern you want by just simply toggling that right here. Okay? So, that's the piano roll. It's pretty cool, pretty functional. You can play any instrument on the piano roll, which by raising and lowering its pitch, and this is generally how you divide out and place your rhythmic instruments such as your drums. Obviously, you're going to want to play your piano on a MIDI keyboard, or just by playing it with your normal keyboard, or even just by clicking in the notes on this piano roll. After the piano roll, we now have the master mixer. Okay, so this mixer is basically, if anyone has seen, a soundboard or any kind of tech like that, that's essentially what this mixer is. Except digital, and it's very, very easy to use. It might look intimidating and confusing at first. However, it is very, very easy to use. So we're going to go ahead and reference back to the channel rack for this. So you remember how I said something about this number 5 right here, assigning it a channel? It's just what it looks like. Basically, channel 1 in your channel rack is channel 1 on your mixer. You can individually adjust the volume on channel 1 So in this instance, it would be for the 808 kick. If this is in your song anywhere and you adjust this volume bar, that's how loud it's going to play in your song in relevance to this. This is also where you're going to be doing a lot of your EQing and your special editing, which I'm going to go ahead and show you real quick but not dive into. So let's say we have our 808 kick completely patterned out the way we want. The volume's correct. Let's say we want it a little bit louder than the rest, which we normally wouldn't, but for this example, let's say we do. We're then going to come over here to slots. Click on slot 1. Now let's say we want to put on some EQ. We want to mess with, the highs and the lows, right? So this is our EQ. We can now find that right here on mixer insert 1, channel 1 right here, which is relevant to the 808 kick. However we want to EQ the 808 kick, we do it here. Once it's done, we just exit out. Let's say that the 808 clap we want to mess with. Let's say we want to put some reverb on that. We'll do the same thing in the second channel. You can see the Fruity Reverb 2 comes up on channel 2. And if you want to go back to the bass, the Fruity Parametric EQ is up there. So you have individual control over each channel, being able to put, different compressors, oscillators, everything like that into individual channels, which I think is a very unique feature of this. And it really helps you get a lot done. It really helps you fine-tune your work. And a lot of these plugins are free to use. Even if you're just using the demo version, you just can't save, which is that one unfortunate part. However, if you wanted to sit here and crank out a project and just download it as a file, that's possible too. Alright, so after the master mixer, we're going to go on to the next button, which this button, it's the plugin browser and or picker, which is basically just this little drop down on the left here. It's not really a button you're going to find yourself toggling. It's more so, if accidentally this thing gets drug out of the way, or you accidentally minimize it and you can't find it, this is the little button that you can toggle to click and have her pop back up over here for you. This next thing right here is just your pattern list. So obviously you can see here just by me showing you, if you hover over it, it's going to demo what that pattern sounds like. All right. And this is also a way to just have a nice visual of adding patterns and showing you all your different channels and everything. This is kind of a unique feature of FL, of having these, very digital visual sections to help you, choose your plugins and your samples and everything like that, which I think is very unique to FL as well. It's very user-friendly once you get into it. So that was your plugin database, which I had already showed you before. Going on to the next one is going to be this guy, the tempo tapper. So let's say you have a tempo in your head, but you're like, man, I don't know what exact, number it is. I don't know what BPM to set my song to. You can sit here and count out 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm a little inconsistent, as you can see, and I'm actually kind of speeding up. But now I know that if I put my BPM up into that little BPM thing up here at 153, I know that's about where I want it. And the cool thing about the tempo tapper is, once you get what you want and you find that you like, it actually sets it for you as your tempo up here. And not only that, it shows you when you're in sync down here, which is a very interesting feature of this. So this next one is just the cart. This is where you're going to go. It's going to take you to FL Studio's website, and it's going to allow you to, buy other plugins or upgrade your versions of FL, which is great. Today, right here, it shows you FL Studio version 20.8.0 build, blah, blah, blah. That's just showing you my license. This right here is the undo button. Always great if you accidentally make a mistake. This right here is your cut button for your audio editor. I would not recommend using the internal audio editor and or recording software in FL. However, it is here if you want it, if you have the premium version. So this is the editor right here for the audio, and this is Edison Audio Recorder. It's okay. I just prefer to use, I'm actually using OBS to record right now. I like the internal microphone capability of OBS, but if I'm just doing samples or recordings, I actually have another free program called Audacity. I'll go ahead and drop the download link to all this stuff down below, but these are just what I like to use when I'm sampling or, recording audio, rather than using the built-in FL mic. And as you can see here, I actually have the My Projects, I'm sorry, not the My Projects. Let me find the random files folder right here, which are sampled audio clips that I took from Audacity and put them in here, which is a lot cleaner and smoother than it is recording in FL, believe it or not. So here's the help page. This is just an online forum that you can get FL experts to answer questions, or you can read about them. Here we got the save as and the render as. These are also found if you go up here to file. You can do the same things here. So we'll go ahead and go over these two. File, obviously just your normal, filing settings, and you can also quickly open up your previous projects that you've saved before right up in here. Edit, this is just going to be editing the what's on displayed on your screen, which as you can see here, there's not very much, just a knob. Then the knobs have to do with an unopened thing over here. The add, this is where you're going to go to add more plugins if you happen to download any off the internet. Going into manage plugins here, you can actually edit your search paths in here, so you can make it search anywhere on your computer, and you can just run a quick plugin scan. It'll completely add them in here if they're compatible, which they'll be instantly available for use. It's a very smooth process. In here is patterns. This is just going to be showing you different patterns. It's going to be obviously showing you these are the patterns that I have right now in my song. And then these are allowing you to basically just do any kind of edits or customizations you want with your patterns. As you can see here, random color, rename in color, selecting your playlist, transposing it, setting a time signature, all that kind of good stuff for your specific patterns, which I can get into more detail later into a actual music lesson, how that would be helpful here in FL. This view is just going to be showing you all the different buttons here that I showed you before. You're able to click them from a text view as well. If you want to click the channel rack, it goes ahead and opens the channel rack for you right there. I would just stick to using these buttons. They're a little bit more convenient and a lot easier to remember. Options button, this is going to be bringing you up your different settings, your file settings, audio settings, MIDI settings. MIDI settings, I happen to have myself a nifty little keyboard right here, which I'll go ahead and display now. I have the Akai MPK Mini MIDI keyboard. It plugs in via USB. It's a very great little piece of machinery. I love it. It was totally worth the spend. If you guys are, producing your own electronic music or anything like that, these boys are really helpful for you. They make everything just a lot easier, quicker, smoother, and it's so nice. It's so nice. I love it. And it's actually helped me, become a little bit better of a piano player independently without even having to learn how to play myself. The next thing we're looking at here is our tools. That's just going to be different tools. Obviously, it shows here macros, stop recording, cancel recording. If you have to do any of these kind of little hotkeys things, that's going to be up in your tools. And then once again, with help, it's going to be bringing you all your product information, your image line account, and if you need to contact help from FL professionals, that will be found right there.
Alright you guys, so that's going to conclude the video. I hope that you guys actually found some stuff in here that is useful and maybe kind of taught you how to use this program a little bit better than you did before. Make sure you stay tuned for the future videos, and I'm going to be updating different aspects of the platform. So I'll be going into detail on how to use specific functions inside of the platform, as well as obviously going into detail on how to actually make some different stuff and give you some different creative ideas to hopefully spark some stuff if you've got some of that writer's or creative block or whatever coming out with new content. So once again guys, if you liked the video, please drop a like, subscribe down below. I know I've said it multiple times, but I can't say it enough. I appreciate all of your support that you've been giving me. Just putting my socials up here in the last couple weeks, I've already received a lot of followers and a lot of support from you guys. I really appreciate that, and I'd love to see it keep coming. So if you guys enjoyed the video, please drop a like, subscribe, and I'll be back soon. Thanks for tuning in to The Cave, powered by RTS. Peace.